Hello and welcome to our conversation about taking steps to improve equity, diversity, and inclusion in our places of work and communities. It is brought to you by the Greater Parkland Regional Chamber of Commerce and the Community and Social Development Departments of the town of Stony. December is the time of year to celebrate and to appreciate. But the traditional year-end company holiday festivities can leave some workers feeling left out. After an entire year of hard work, not being sensitive around the diverse needs of workers' holidays tradition can have a negative impact on their engagement. In this dialogue, we're going to share some tips on the best practices of including employees during the holiday season. The conversation takes place between myself, Mike, Renata, and Ada of BadaB Consulting. At the end, we'll also take a moment to tell you about our recognition badges that help you take steps and demonstrate your commitment to equity, diversity, and inclusion. Now, let's get talking.
Recently, I have been taken aback by the cold winter winds. It's the time of the year.
But our biggest holiday is coming up. I know that my family and myself are looking forward to a 2-week off vacation around Christmas and New Year's time to celebrate the past year and to welcome the new year.
I know. My kids have started putting out the tree in our living room and planning for a family short getaway in the mountains as our family tradition for the holidays. From a professional perspective, this is also the time when employers ask us, what is the best way to celebrate the past year with workers and thank them for a year of hard work? And how can we be sensitive towards our different employees' diverse holiday rituals? Employers are doing the best to make people feel welcomed, but are afraid of doing the wrong thing. Ada, I remember you told me a pretty good story about recognizing the diverse holiday rituals. Can you share it with the audience?
My pleasure. In my early career, I was fortunate enough to join a great company. As an HR person, I organized all types of company events year-round. The first year after I joined this company, I was the chair of the social committee and organizing the biggest company events at the year end. Because the time of the event was right before Christmas, so as I enthusiastically jump into planning for the event and design a fancy poster, I call it the Christmas Gala. We were aiming for 600 attendees. However, after several rounds of verbal and written promotions, only 50-some employees signed up. And as time was fast approaching, I needed to book the space, the entertainers, and also the food. I started to get worried. I was talking with the rest of the committee members about what went wrong. This was a free event. They are going to have a big buffet dinner, and they can bring one adult as their guest. What can go wrong with that? And lots of games and prizes. Why don't people want to sign up? After doing a quick workplace survey and talking to some of the peer leaders, I learned a few things. It's because the event was called Christmas Gala. A feedback that was well received for me was to do a quick workplace demographics analysis. Through this analysis, I learned that in this company, we have people from more than 22 countries in 5 different generations, all levels of education and physical abilities. And about 75% of them actually do not celebrate Christmas. That was a big aha moment for me. Therefore, the committee did a couple of changes. First of all, we postponed the event date to mid-January. Second, we redesigned the poster, changed the graphics, called the event Holiday Celebration, and rebranded the promotional language. Third, we invited entertainers from different cultural backgrounds. And fourth, the prizes that we were going to give out, we also thought about people's physical abilities, their interests, and the cultural backgrounds. And fifth, we redesigned the food menu for people with, for example, dietary restrictions, religious and cultural differences. Last but not least, we also created a 2-part event. The more formal part event, where leaders thank everybody for the year of hard work, make any special announcements. There would be no alcohol, no games during this time. Then a more relaxed, have fun, where alcohol and performance and games were put on. The no alcohol and no games part was actually well appreciated by the workers who were pregnant, were from cultures that do not consume alcohol. Employees observe and they feel what their organizations are trying to do. When they see their leaders are showing sincere efforts of including everyone, trying to do something to celebrate, they start to embrace the changes. At the end, we were able to achieve 800 attendees and employees were very impressed.
Ada, that's a beautiful story. In today's workplaces, I also see that employers go out of their ways to recognize workers who celebrate different holidays. A couple of best practices I'd like to share with our audience include loosening up the dates for holiday time off. For employees who do not celebrate Christmas, give them the option to take their equivalent time off on their holidays. Of course, let their managers know in advance. Sometimes we call this floating holidays. If your organization typically gives out Christmas gifts to workers, then why not create a catalog of gifts for workers to choose from? This helps them have choice and voice. You can create a social committee with employee representatives from various cultural and religious backgrounds. A balanced voice will help your business learn the best approach. And do not forget about the remote workers. The post-pandemic era gets a mix of on-site and remote workers, or hybrid of the two approaches. Out of sight can be out of mind. Continue on with the momentum of doing your meetings and events both online and offline to include remote working people. Renata, what would you like to add?
Don't get us wrong, you can still celebrate Christmas. There are still a large number of organizations, Canadian organizations, that do celebrate Christmas. And I've also met many employees from various religious and cultural backgrounds who want to learn about what people do to celebrate Christmas here. Do not underestimate their desire to take part. I also invite my team members personally over to my house to share some of our own celebrations and share some of our great food. Let employees lead the way. For example, in our organization, we celebrate the New Year together, and we let employees from various backgrounds educate us on what major holidays they celebrate and how they do it. As Ada mentioned previously, it is through these interactions that we learn the most from each other. More openly, we can talk about these differences and people feel comfortable talking about them. And most of us do enjoy talking about our own traditions. The better environment we're creating. Based on my experience, I found conflicts and issues typically happen because of misunderstandings. In other words, not having enough opportunities to learn about each other rather than being unwilling to learn about one another.
So for employers, 2 simple things that you can do. Action number 1, do a quick review of your workplace demographics. Understand the types of cultural backgrounds that are represented in your business. Then you can design the suitable holiday celebrations and recognitions. Action number 2, although the year end is a great time to celebrate, getting to know your workers should not only be done at this time. Plan casual events throughout the year to get to know your workers and let them be your workplace culture instructors.
That was a pretty good conversation. As we wrap up this session, I'd like to take just a minute to let you know that we offer a badge recognition program that is focused on supporting organizations in the early stages of action on equity, diversity, and inclusion. There are 6 badges available: leadership and capacity, accessibility, staffing, compensation, performance excellence, and learning. For each, we have a list of research-based practical indicators, and you tell us how your organization is fulfilling several of them. Then, we have a confirmation meeting and award the badge. There's lots of flexibility built in, and the point is to inform and recognize your first steps on the journey of meaningful equity, diversity, and inclusion. Contact information for Ada, Renata, and myself are on screen. Please reach out to any of us or the corporate office to talk more about equity, diversity, and inclusion and how we can help you. And thanks to our partners, the Greater Parkland Regional Chamber of Commerce and Community and Social Development Department of the town of Stony Plain, who are advocates of equity, diversity, and inclusion.